Hello, this is, you know who it is, Theta Sigma. Got the key to my heart, in my brain, in my soul. Just works like that. So, what is my name? Mr. Garcia. This is 14th grade class. What are we learning? New Taube equations, mod language from Boole. These are going to be marked with stars. And we'll be working on PD 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Also, for extra, we're going to be theta male secrets, dialogue, and interest pulled into new embrace of logic. How does this work? We can write down our notes with simple shapes. Sometimes the path of development is very circular. Sometimes it's very square-like, or very triangular, or very hexagonal. But each part of our growth is measured in an inconsistent graph, like nodes. And each node can grow in size and hold more information than it did at the beginning. And doing that can essentially create a shape because they all link together. But it's complicated. With a square-like embrace, it's doing the same exact thing but in a different dimensional understanding. So when you link these dimensions together, that creates a reflective symbolage. Same with square and triangular appeal, or hexagonal or triangular appeal. All basically the same type of Boole and mod. But let's say the name and with na and do creates a sort of shape word that you can use as kind of like a whisker, like a mark, silver script. And that's how the ampersand was created in the past. It was a pure and we use and or XOR perspectives, and that's the case. We use and, XOR, XAND, not all the time. But the true language is made from the original structure that wasn't tied to Boole, and this structure is totally topological, or even beyond topological. It's just emergent. You can create this emergent structure from just drawing letters on a graph. And just grow it like this. For example, this is the start of the graph. And you can just grow like that endlessly. And you can find, okay, this is one node, and it links to this node because this node, because that node. And these two are beside each other, beside these two, and it creates a sort of language model of which inflects another. But if it's the original structure of Silver script, then it has totally different multi-dimensional language that could be times number, percentage, operations that don't work on the same level, and it works. For some reason, it just happens to create a fractal-like embrace. But inherently, it's not even a fractal. It's related to fractals. It's related to fractals, but not exactly fractals. But how does this relate to the next position in mod language from Boole? Well, essentially, you can create new words or ideas that convey a process, or use old words to convey new words, kind of like better. We can use better, 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 and just repeat that. Better, better, better. And you start to hear a word within that. It's deba, plebo, glebar. Oh, I did? Oh. The only reason, better, better, better. The only reason I get deba, plebo, glebar is because I created it in the past. There are words that appear after, but it could be the excess entropy that accelerates over time or under time. Atropy, entropy used to be my idea of Vozios ambiguagos, but the Vozios and all that stuff don't even work the way you think. It used to work. Like, oh, I just had the idea. It must have worked, but actually doesn't. Not anymore. We need to learn how it works by going through the process of learning and learning what we did in the past exactly to get to the point where we are now. But focusing too much on the past doesn't let us progress to the future, so we have to focus on certain indexes that were all around. Like, for example, in this moment of time, I'm in 3 axes of time. Or 4. Or nonlinear uniform. They link sequentially to each other, or sequentially in a way that you can't really describe, but essentially, this is not one time. This is like 5 times. Because I can talk like this, or like this, or like this, or like this. Because it's essentially different people within this thick skin of the body. And that's why I am the key to my mind, my heart, and my soul. Anyways, going to PD 1 to 10, this structure is gonna be very good. Very, very good. Why does it link? Because the process from 1 to 2 to 3 all has to do with random selection. They don't work topologically, they're forced. But when you see different letters or numbers that actually are topological, they are still forced, but on a lower level, less force and more glyph-like. Thus, in the future, we can prove that the number system does work or doesn't, because we don't know what the true number 1 is. We don't know exactly what it is. We don't even know the full definition of pi. Everything on a circle is irrational. That means the radius has to be irrational too. But how can one be irrational? That's exactly the message here. Because in this new realm of statistics, in this video maker, through the Leibniz and the exponents and all that stuff, and the HP, MP, LP, all that stuff that categorizes itself by itself, we work through pi irrationals. Each level of the pi irrational will be 1 to infinity, but it's pi. It's a pi-related one. It's not actually 1. It is a different language model. And it links. It actually links to the same thing, but it's different categories of interpretation and could be used for scalar inflation, and that's perfect for personal development. Because personal development doesn't have to move in a straight line. You could link the sequential adaptation to inflation to the linear scope of forward thinking, and you can create a forward thinking bridger that goes indefinitely. but it runs into walls. The Great Wall for women, the Great Wall for men. We run into this stuff because not only is our personality lacking, but multiple portfolios of index for what we have. It's like our intelligence, our looks, all of it. But I'm not doing that good on that because I'm just learning this stuff. I'm not really putting effort or motivation into it, but I work with people, but I could also work differently because I learned a lot being isolated by myself. Well, I also work a lot being intertwined with people. I work very well when I'm surrounded by a lot of individuals, but I also get lazy too. Good, right? Anyways, that was PD, and we go next to TMSDAI, which is the bridger into new relations for 14th grade appearance. You really do want to get to 15th, 16th, 17th, all the way to 24th. Do you really want to graduate each level? Because if you don't graduate 13th, you don't go to 14th. Or you can trick the system and go to 14th by faking your graduation, but you don't really earn much from that. And the problem here is that you're going to return to a lot of previous levels, and you're going to be like, wasn't I already in 13th? No, you were actually still in 14th. You're just going to different school echelons and trying to learn from them. But it doesn't really teach you much because you're trapped in a Samsara cycle within this mind right here. But this mind internally is really toxic, like a scorpion biting a horse or something, or a fish. I don't know. Anyways, I'm Andrew Garcia, also known as Mr. Garcia for 14th grade economics, mathematics, in English semantics, and this is the end. Or a new start, because what is the end? Endotorious.